access to the banks, it gave me access to whatever I needed because I was not from there. So, I'm trying to reach out to my people that, that if you were not born in a particular city, if you get access to resources, think about this. You're getting that access to resources because if you ever get out of hand with master, he can shut you down and you can't go to the community and say to the people, hey, man, look what they're doing to me. Because the people are going to say, well, I don't know you anyway. You're not from here, So we want to kill that mindset, but we also want to understand that if you are coming into a community, partner up with some of the locals so that you can tap into their social infrastructure and also work out a partnership agreement, and then you can take that back to your hometown, that the success of that story. So what I'm seeing now in this election situation, I'm seeing all of these different candidates for mayor, they're bringing different people in their camp for a few dollars, and I'm not hearing nothing about economic empowerment from any of these candidates. I'm not hearing how they're going to set up banks. I'm not hearing how they're going to open up the doors for our businesses to underwrite them with some serious money to finance them through difficult times. So, this is one of the things that we need to think about. Now, one quote from Claude Anderson's book, that under the political part that I'm really interested in, it says, when blacks play politics based on the needs and interests of other groups, they are not playing to win, they are playing to play, to be accepted, to get along, and get nothing in return for their efforts. All right, so we need to think about that.
Let it marinate.
Yeah. All right. And here's another quick phrase from black voters should begin by clearing their own house first. They must no longer tolerate black elected officials or others who purport to represent blacks but actually want to play in the game of politics. All right. So when we put our own black folks in office, are they just getting in office to be seen, to be recognized, or just for status? Or are they actually going to get in there and say, no, you're going to do something for my community, or it's going to be a discrepancy up in here? So that's something that we need to consider with these different guys and girls that are supporting, advocating that we vote for these folks, and they're not promising anything. We don't want. We don't want basketball courts or streets named after us. We want economic empowerment. So, Tatiana, you were in that election game. Reflect on that.
Well, I think that everything that book said is definitely true because that's what we find. There was a post on Facebook this week, and what it discussed was the mayoral candidate that, of course, is not candidate, but the race that is currently heating up. We have the election that is on May 5th. But here's the thing, like I commented, we have all of these, no offense to anybody, but we have all of these white mayoral candidates. And I just would have liked to see a black mayoral candidate instead of having all of these white candidates in the race that only have black people fighting amongst themselves still, once again. So I would like to see that let's stop talking about what's wrong and let's go ahead and start making and coming up with solutions that are right.
So they got different community leaders, all in these different camps, and none of the community leaders are coming together and say, look, let's get behind one candidate that's going to do right by our people, and get them to agree to some economic empowerment. And we got all these different groups, and so now, if you're a community leader or business owner and you're representing to get behind a particular politician, just for your own recognition and your own personal cut versus your community, you're leaving our children in a bad state of affairs.
But guess what? This is something that I got from you, Daryl. From here on out, this is what I suggest. If those business owners that support candidates that we know are not for the black community, then after the election cycle, we need to make sure that they remember who they supported in the election cycle.
Repercussions
yes,
and consequences.
That's right. And more importantly, to kind of soften it up. It's just accountability.
Yeah.
Accountability for the decisions that you decided to make on who you decided to support.
Yeah. So, what's really tripping me out, if you are a community leader and people are following you, and you're joining up with a candidate just for a few dollars to get paid during this campaign, what's going to happen when that particular individual, if they win, you think they're going to hire you? Is that the objective? Or, what?
You just read the excerpt in your book. They got to pay to do what? Right.
Pay to play. All right. So I think, Tatiana, what you had?
Yeah. So we're gonna do some community updates. There's a story circulating around Facebook. It was a young lady. I think she was killed at a party or something. I guess she was a student here, home on a break, and she was killed at a party. So it's kind of a great segue into our special guest this morning, Mr. and Mrs. Saunders, is that the advocates for safer communities, because a lot of times what we find is that we hear the news and then we talk about it and we're outraged, but we have to start coming up with formidable solutions. So as we move forward, I just would like to say that this whole theme that we have for the show, because every week there'll be a different theme. And the theme for this show is what we're on a mission. I'm on a mission to do what? Because what are you on a mission to do? And that goes for all of us. Summer will be coming up. It's spring right now. For safer community. Summer is going to be coming up before we know it. So we just want to get things in place, that will be for our children and kind of get to the bottom of why are our kids having guns in their hands, because we don't know who did it, why they did it. We know that's not the first case, obviously, but we just want to start coming up with formidable situations and also including our youth, because we come up with all these solutions in these rooms for people that are not even in the rooms, So I just think that that's one of the updates is this teen that was shot at this party and no one knows who did it. But again, it's not the first case. So what can we do to, some problems will never all the way be solved, but then again, some problems you can at least come up with solutions that include the people, in other words, the teenagers. They know why they do what they do. So we got to have the people in the room that we're coming up with the solutions for.
So, this thing, I saw this, all my black women are beautiful. I mean, I love y'all. But this little girl, she is just cut right through my heart. She had a promising future. And, this is a symptom of a cancer, because I'm wondering, most likely it was a young man, that did this, and I hope I'm not wrong. And, whatever this frustration is going on, this cancer goes all the way back to our families, our economic situation. And I was reading a post on Facebook, about how the food stamps, how the Section 8, and the black man is not allowed to come live with that woman, and yet if she take out food stamps, he's going to be hit with child support. So all of these things are going on, and it all leads back to one issue. We need economic empowerment in our community so we can put these young black men and women to work in their own business, start recirculating that dollar. So when that dollar leaves us in 6 hours, it only stays in our community 6 hours. And when it leaves, that opportunity for that young black man, black woman to have their own business is gone. So, so we still are advocating to our people. First and foremost, if you would think you in a higher class, and your crap don't stink, you need to come off that cloud, and we need to get in the community. These outreach groups, we need to go into that community to get to the root as to why that young man or whoever accidentally or intentionally shot this young lady. We need to solve this ourselves. We cannot rely, and I think Dollar is going to expand on that. A dollar. We cannot rely on the police force. We need to police our own community.
Absolutely. And I think it's very important, like you said, one thing stems from another. There's a root cause, and it definitely is economic, however you want to say it, but it's definitely economic impoverishment that is in our communities, because so many people don't have jobs. They may not know how to become entrepreneurs. Being an entrepreneur, everybody's not an entrepreneur, but the people that are, they don't even know how to get started. So we have to do more of finding people that don't know how to find their own way, because ultimately that's the real gift, is to find people that don't know what to do and to show them how to do. Because other than that, they're just frustrated. They're just in the communities and they're okay with getting food stamps because it's all they know. But there are people like myself, you talk about bridging the gap, for the 40-something-year-olds, the late 30s or whatever. We are entrepreneurs, or we're working on these jobs, but we need to make sure that we have an end game. What is the outcome going to be? So we want to make sure that we have a strategic approach and we can come up with real plans and solutions.
Well, I promise, and, I have 50 plus years of business experience, and I'm a third generation entrepreneur, and I'm giving my knowledge away for free. So, come out to our Wednesday night meetings at 1240 Ray Charles Boulevard at 7 p.m. And you can get access to all of this knowledge. I was born in Tampa, but I lived in D.C., Atlanta, Nashville, and I've brought back a wealth of knowledge on how we can empower our community. So there is no excuse. We can help you with your business plan, your business idea, how to get finance, and how to build a customer base. That's the key thing. And now black folks are wanting to do business with black folks. But again, we got to go back to some of our early shows when we talk about you have to develop a code of ethics. Your word is your bond. If you say you're going to be somewhere, be there on time. And if you're late, call up and say, I'm running late. So some of these basic principles to assert to the community that you are true and sincere about your business and how you're going to handle your business. We have this knowledge, we have this inspiration to work with you. So come out on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. at 1240 Ray Charles Boulevard and 7 p.m. and hang out with us. We got some serious things coming. We got some serious economic financing coming our way. So we're getting ready to cut the break. We'll be right back with you. This is the Straight Talk on how we're going to empower our people.
So believe we hunted down 813-248-6300. Everything gon' be okay. Call Ricky, he coming. He taking care of state of Florida. Grab a pen of sundown. 184-361 Rick. That's 184-361-425. Never word from the point forward. Just recline. Just ask Ricky. Plus your boy statewide. Just in case you missed it, I'ma tell you one more time. 184-361 Rick. Call Ricky. Ask Ricky. Is a legal medical referral service. The doctors and lawyers in our network are trained in handling auto injury claims and getting you the best medical treatment and recovery. Dial 1-844-361-RICK. That's 1-844-361-7425. Ricky. Ask Ricky.
Hey, this is Miss K with K's Kitchen, cooking Chicago-style fried chicken and fish with the authentic Chicago-style mild sauce. Come check us out at 5508 North 50th Street in Tampa. We're open Wednesday through Saturday from 12 to 6, or you can call us at 813-368-5196. Again, that number is 813-368-5196. See you soon.
Hi, we're back. Thank you very much for coming back. Straight Talk. And we are going to have Andre Hill Jr. and Miss Anna Jones. If you remember last week on the show, we actually had them talking about the community gardening, and they were also doing a community fundraiser. So right now they're going to go ahead and give us a community fundraiser recap.
All right. Good rising, Tampa Bay. Good rising. I should stop saying Tampa Bay, Derek, because we're international, right? All right. Well, good rising world. Well, good news, guys. The fundraiser was a success. A lot of people came out. We fed them. We fed them some good vegetarian spaghetti. some garlic bread. Yeah, we'll make some more. You come on through next time, mister. All right. And had a good salad going, and we played some games. But either way, we raised a good amount of money. We raised a little bit under $1,000. With and with the crowd that was there, that was a considerable feat. Right now, as we go forward, looking for more monies. Right now, we're applying for grants, from organizations that are interested in our cause.
Okay.
Right. So those are our strategies. We'll be throwing more events. And of course, whenever we throw an event or a fundraiser, it'll always be an incentive for you to come out. It's going to be some food. We're going to be giving some stuff away. We're going to be listening to some music. We're going to be having a good time. So when we put the blast out there that y'all need to come to this fundraiser, just know you need to come on out and support and network with your people and have fun all at the same time. So speaking of raising the monies, I'm a man, and what I realized is women are way better.
And you realize you're in the middle of two women, right?
Right, exactly. They are way better at asking for monies than men, right? Way better. It's like y'all got this thing about just paying bills or whatnot. So Anna, you want to update us on all ways they can donate and just different platforms we need money for and why.
All right. So, like Mr. Junior said,
not Mr. Junior.
you can donate to the cause, to the community garden via our website. It's urbanprogressalliance.org. Go to the THI Community Garden tab, and there is a place for you to donate there. You can also donate via PayPal using our Urban Progress Alliance of Tampa at Gmail email. Know that when we're taking these donations that everything goes towards the community garden. So what is up first is our special one use application for the zoning change. So we're changing the zoning from residential to special one use so that we can operate the community garden on that lot. So that's the first order of business, and then we will be also turning on the water. So that is what the funds will be used for. So like I said, go to urbanprogressalliance.org, THI Community Garden tab, and click on donate.
Listen, Anna, I just want to say something. I had to pause before Andre. You never, and I'm not going to say you never, it's very rare that you see someone ask for money and then immediately tell you what the money's going for. That's very rare, and I just want to commend you all because it's not like, I'm giving you my money, and then everybody's wondering, well, where did the money go? You have a clear, and listen, applaud.
Transparency.
Yeah,
that's what we're looking for.
Yes.
That's what we do. That's what we look for.
One of the things that people need to see the whole vision. It's a community garden. This is a prelude to a grocery store.
Right.
A grocery store that you can rely on and trust that the food that they're selling is going to be your medicine. This is going to be a lifestyle. So in the community, you start out with the community garden and you build your customer base. You go out, you reach out to people. So for those of you with the resources, get involved, donate, and then you're going to get first access to whatever foods, vegetables that are growing, the medicine that you need to live healthy. And then you're going to get access to understanding how the grocery store is going to be set up. So the organizational structures that we're looking for with the grocery stores is for our children to own and operate this grocery store. And the floor design for their participation, no matter whether you're sweeping the floors or keeping the books, all of our children will be able to have ownership in this grocery store. All right? So that means that they're not just working a job, they're working a career. And this is how the community garden will spill over into the grocery store, over into farming, into international distribution, because we know some of them other cultures is making food for profit. We're making it for health. Mm-hmm. We're making it because we want our Wakanda. So this is what this is the big picture behind the community. It's just a small community garden now, but it's going to expand because we gotta start loving each other.
Absolutely.
And we can do it through our foods and our community participation. So please donate, get involved so that you can get information on when the food is going to be there. You can come buy it or trade it, sell it, do whatever the case might be. But one of the things you're going to know is that your people is producing this food, so it's going to be the food that's going to fill your body and your soul.
Right.
Absolutely.
We're not trying to poison you. We're trying to make you live.
I'm telling you.
Some other people out there trying to kill you.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah. That's the agenda. Because man, I got friends dropping left and right every month. So we got to reverse that trend, and it all starts with our diet. Yeah. So Tatiana, we're following your outline. Tatiana's starting to get us organized, man.
I think it's a pretty good outline. I mean, we're right on target.
Okay.
She did a fabulous job.
Thank you, Miss Anna. That means a lot. Thank you. But seriously, I really am so happy to be a part of the Straight Talk family. This is going to be an amazing adventure, not just for Straight Talk, but every upcoming guest that comes on this show for the Tampa Bay area and beyond. We are doing Straight Talk across the world. We're very honored and we're very appreciative to Mr. Daryl Johnson and Miss Tampa Bay Tammy for having us on In Touch News Radio. And In Touch News Radio is going to be, all over the world and beyond. And we hope and look forward to taking this journey together. And we're going to lead up into some of the things that I was talking about the shooting with the young lady. Well, me and Andre were talking about. We're going to go ahead and get ready for our special guests that are coming in, Mr. and Mrs. Darla Sanders of Advocates for Safer Communities. And I just hope that you all will listen in. Make sure that you go on the Facebook page. And when we come back from break, we'll have those special guests, and we look forward to you tuning in. Thank you so much.
Hey, this is Agent Wright, better known as Mr. Clean. You looking for some great barbecue? Come see them two brothers in the grill, located at 423 Virginia Street, Charleston, West Virginia. We got ribs, chicken, pulled pork, brisket, collard greens, mac and cheese, baby. Come get some and get you a nice, smooth cigar. 304-550-4431. That is 304-550-4431. Come get some, baby. The Rib Man, mama, the Rib Man.
Hi, this is Dr. Veronica Walters, also known as Dr. V, the head of school at the Walters Academy for Entrepreneurship, a place that we like to call The Way, where we're educating today's youthpreneurs to be tomorrow's billionaires through social entrepreneurship. Do you have a student who's bored, frustrated, gifted, inquisitive, creative, business-minded? Then maybe you need to check The Way out. Listen, we have an educational platform that allows for individualized instruction. It's strength-based, project-based, and designed to help your student become the absolute best they can while starting their own business and being an entrepreneur. If you're looking for something different and you need to find a more excellent way, then you need to visit us at The Way. That's The Way, www.thewaetampa.org. Or you can call us at 813-603-7923. We look forward to showing your student a more excellent way at The Way.
Hey, Tampa Bay. Want to cruise to Cuba? Tampa to Havana? We've got the best prices. Call Kinsey Travel, 863-274-3715. That's Kinsey Travel, 863-274-3715. Baby, let's cruise.
And we are happy and excited to announce that we do have our special guest. I kind of gave all of our listeners and viewers a segue into our special guest, Mr. and Mrs. Saunders, that are here from Advocates for Safer Communities. And we were kind of talking about the young lady that was killed at the party. And I'm going to go ahead and allow them to introduce themselves, their mission for their organization, and we're going to all get excited about their mission and hopefully get behind it.
Good morning. My name is Darla Saunders, and Advocates for Safer Communities Incorporated is the organization. The mission of the organization is to educate and create awareness among youth, families, and communities through the promotion of programs, support to victims and victims' families, intervention, safety, literature, and other strategies to assist in the decrease of potential violent tragedies from occurring.
Love it.
Good morning. My name is Elliot Saunders. I am the motivational speaker and co-founder of Advocates for Safer Communities.
Advocates for Safer Communities actually exists because of the violent crime tragedy of Isaiah Edward Brooks, our son, who was 18 years old at the time. Isaiah was found about 4 to 5 blocks away from where we lived. So he motivated us to actually start the organization. We were concerned that homicides in the Tampa Bay area were not being solved. We didn't get the response that we wanted from Tampa Police Department, and so we worked very, very hard so that we could make sure that our cases were noticed and that we could create the awareness of them not being solved.
So, hey, Darla, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, and Elliot, me and Elliot go back 40 years.
Telling his age, not mine.
So, how you doing this morning, Elliot?
I'm good. How you doing?
Hey, man. The tragedy of what's happening in our community, this is serious, and I'm glad you guys are working, bringing awareness to the community. And now we have this young lady that just got. I mean, what's your take on that? What are we doing, to deal with that sort of situation?
Well, to deal with it is, it starts at home. It doesn't start with Advocates for Safe Communities. It starts with everybody at their separate house, teaching their children that gun violence isn't the way to go. It's like we're losing a generation, a millennial generation from 18 to 30 that seems to think that, it's better to pick up a gun than settle the dispute with talking it out. So that's where we're losing touch at. And then also, as my wife said, our cases, if there is a murder, our cases aren't being solved at a good rate. It's partially because the community keeps their mouths closed, and partially because if it goes cold, there's nobody to work it. Because TPD does not have a quote unquote specific cold case detective out there. So that's what we're working on.
Okay. So, when this occurs in the community, will your organization reach out to that family and comfort them? What are you doing?
Well, we reach out to the family, or we try to, if we have contact, to get in contact with them. It's hard sometimes because we may not know somebody that knows them. So it's hard to say, okay, where's that family? How do we locate them? So that's a hard thing to do. Now, if they need help, we do have ways that they can contact us. We have a Facebook page. We have an Instagram page. We have several social media pages that we can be contacted by. Also, if you Google our name, Advocates for Safer Communities, we'll pop right up.
Yes, we actually want to be involved when something happens because we want those families to know that we're here and that we will support them in any way that we possibly can. I'm just overwhelmed with the rate that our children are being murdered and nothing is being done about it. Families don't have the support that they need. A lot of times victims, assistance is not actually contacting us actually to tell us how we can get healing or how we can get services that will support us. And so I'm very, very concerned that we're just not getting what we need as a community of people. As far as a young lady who was murdered, we actually have contact with that family through friends of ours who are going to get us in contact with the mother. Awesome. So I'm very excited about that. So I'll be able to hopefully provide her some guidance, us together, and some support.
I want to say something that God just put in my spirit as you all were talking about what the need is. As we have this mayoral race, that's some pressure that needs to be applied to either one of those candidates. Because if the City of Tampa Police Department does not have, like what we watch on TV, a special victims unit, then there's something that may need to be introduced. Because one thing about it, just because they don't have it. I mean, I'm a trailblazer. I can't help it. Just because they don't have it doesn't mean you can't make it. So let's I'm definitely. Remember I told you that when you all came, if there's something I can help and get behind,
Definitely.
I'm definitely willing to get behind that.
Thank you.
Well, they did have someone, and my problem with it is they change so frequently that if you don't have one special person dedicated that can stay there for a number of years, nothing will get solved. Nothing will get done.
And that makes sense because you have to have one person consistently working that.
Everybody that seems to go into that job or go into that job is still an active case handler, but then they go handle cold cases. So my point is, how can you handle cold cases when you're out there trying to handle active cases?
Very true.
Because you can't do both at the same time. Tampa's just a little too big to not have one or two dedicated detectives working on cold cases.
Okay. Well, we have an initiative.
When there are 300 plus cold cases out there, and a lot of them are from the minority community.
So who has the authority to implement that? Is the mayor or the police chief?
Well, Mama always taught me you start at the head.
Okay, now I was just about to say it got to be the mayor.
You start at the head because the mayor he's the chief law enforcement officer over the chief of police.
Gotcha.
So because he appoints that person. So if he appoints a person that's not going to appropriate the proper funds to two cold case detectives, because you need more than one, because one can't do it all by itself. You need at least two or at least 3 or 4, because there are 300 plus cases. And we know not everyone is going to be solved, but if we start solving some of them, that'll make a dent in that caseload. Okay. So that's what we're looking for. That's what we work for.
All right. So you need resources. So and I know we all a nonprofit or outreach groups. How is corporate America responding to you? Because you can be more effective if you had more funds to set up an office where people can come in, and you can go out and legislate. So what's going on with corporate America?
Right now, there is no corporate America because of what we're doing, nobody else does. Or nobody else wants to put their hands into, because it's dirty work. It's dirty hands work. And, most corporate companies want to keep their hands clean. They don't want to deal with death and families that are hurting. And, that's more of a mental health issue, they would say. But we still need funds for those mental health people. Those are people that work for you,
I'm concerned with it. I just want to add on what Elliot said, because I want to add on to what Elliot said, because a lot of times services are out there and they're provided, but they're just not provided to us. And so we don't get the services that we need so that we can heal properly, so that we can move forward. I believe that, it's going to take us as a community, people of color, to come together to change laws and change things. I mean, if you really look at it, a lot of the laws that are out there now that actually support victims, they don't look like us. We have, Megan's Law, we have Wash's Law, and all of those laws that are not laws for people of color. So who's gonna, change policy and laws so that those laws actually protect us when something happens in our communities? I'm just, I'm like I said earlier, I'm overwhelmed with everything that's happening in our community, and it seems as though no one understands, don't want to understand, and no one comes together to make sure that we're standing together as one.
So wait a minute now. I got a question now. We spend $1 trillion a year, our community.
Exactly.
All right, and with all these big corporations, so they're providing resources to other outreach groups for other cultures, but they won't provide them for us. So we need to find out who these corporations are. We need to stop spending money with them. And that's the whole purpose of the show. See, we're going to be bringing in all the outreach groups so they can talk about where they're getting resources, and then we're going to talk about where we're spending our money. And these are the corporations. Let's go back to that corporation. Let's go back to all of them. Put together your budget for what you need to be effective in our community, because they know that one. There's an issue in the black community. Two, if the police chief and the mayor, if they haven't written a policy stating that we're going to put somebody in this is a serious position where they're there and they're going to build on this position. So we need to deal with that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There are funds that are quote unquote by the state that the state has, but it's a chore to get them. It's called a VOCA, Victims of Crime Act. So there, once you go to court, you have to pay some kind of victims fee.
Victim impact fee.
Victims impact fee. Those monies go there. So there is a hopper of money, but it is just getting in there to get into that hopper of money to such as a program like ours, and see, we're a small program. They usually give those types of monies to bigger programs and bigger, I would say, corporate companies or bigger 501c3s that are, that will say they do the work. I'm gonna just tell the truth. Say they do the work, but don't really do the work. So, and it's people like us that are out here on the, out in the field, as we would say, on the front line, and doing everything that we need to do to help somebody else with limited resources.
I want to say something. I've been dying to interrupt you all because I'm so glad you all came. Like, I almost teared up a few minutes ago. But what I want to say is that when the show is over, because I'm not going to put them on blast on air, but you do have a state representative. You do have county commissioner, but more importantly, the state representative, because that's the person that goes to Tallahassee. That's the seat that I ran for, because I believe that you need somebody in those seats, and this is why. Advocates for a safer community. So you can say, I'm not saying they can solve all of the problems, but at least as the name of your organization is, advocate for what the problem is and how we can solve it. So I also want to say that, have you all tried the funeral homes? Because they're the ones making all the money when these issues occur. And I know that's kind of like, whoa, but I don't know. I just threw that out there.
That's an idea. We have not tried them per se.
And if nothing else, I want to say, if nothing else for the financial part of it, but at least to say that every time, God forbid, but we know death is part of living, so we know it's going to come. But when it's unexpected death and when it's tragedy, that's where we have our systems almost can't accept it because it's premature and we know it. So I think that if nothing else, they should be able to have pamphlets, brochures, or something, because we know that it's limited resources. But every time there's a funeral, I just would suggest you all go to each funeral home, talk to the directors. I'm full of ideas, but talk to the directors and make sure that every family that leaves out of there, they know about Advocates for Safer Communities, because if it's nothing but a community fund, that's what Straight Talk is about. And Miss Andre is always talking about is that we have to keep our problem, not we have to keep, but we should keep our dollars in our communities, and we should be able to back each other up and support each other. And if it's nothing but $5 or $10 from each person that went to that funeral to go ahead and pour into Advocates for Safer Communities, that's definitely a suggestion.
All right, so here's the plan is permeating in my brain right now. All right, so we do have a collective of outreach groups that are slowly coming together and realizing that as a group, we will do a lot better as just an individual organization. And so within these organizations, their membership all over the state are going to be in the hundreds of thousands, especially the restoration of rights. So you have all of these people that are going to be able to vote now that realize that this system jacked them up, and now they're getting some of their rights back. So while your group being a part of our collective now, so when you go into these granting agencies, you can list that, you're part of a collective. And then if those organizations don't donate and invest in we want to know about it. We want you to come back on the show and tell us. We're going
Straight
to
talk.
Hey, this is Dr. V, and you're listening to In Touch Radio, reality radio where everyone's a star. Don't you move.
Call Ricky. Ask Ricky. You need medical or a lawyer? I got the man to do the legwork for you. We tried the other ones before, so believe we hunted down 813-248-6300. Everything gon' be okay. Call Ricky, he coming. He taking care of state of Florida. Grab a pen or sundown 184-361-RICK. That's 184-361-425. Never word from the point forward, just recline. Just ask Ricky, push your boy statewide. Just in case you missed it, I'ma tell you one more time. 1-800-361-RICK. Call Ricky. Ask Ricky is a legal medical referral service. The doctors and lawyers in our network are trained in handling auto injury claims and giving you the best medical treatment and recovery. Dial 1-844-361-RICK. That's 1-844-361-7425. Ricky. Ask Ricky.
Hey, this is Tampa Bay Tammy. Don't forget to pick up your copy of In Touch News.
Smooth Soul is In Touch Radio.
Hi, we're back with Straight Talk and also with our special guest, Mr. and Mrs. Donovan, Mr. and Mrs. Saunders with Advocates for Safer Communities. Also, before the show ends, I want to invite you all to call in if you have any questions. If you want to provide any support to Advocates for Safer Communities, please call in 813-444-9588. And before they leave off the show, we want to make sure that we get the specific Facebook or Instagram page or any type of funding site so our listeners can definitely go to those sites.
So now we're going to deal with this issue with corporate America now, and we're dealing with the collective. And now, in the other communities, what are the name of the other outreach groups in the other cultures that deal with this sort of bereavement? You know,
I personally haven't heard of any because there's not a lot of people that want to deal with this. We deal with it because we don't want anybody to feel like we felt when Isaiah was taken from us. So we deal with it because that's what God called us to do. So it's a calling for us. It's a passion for us. So therefore, it's something we just can't not do. So, when she has an inkling, and it also caused my wife to have the word I'm looking for is some place to look for, some place to go other than going out looking for a killer herself.
Right.
So that it gave her, I had to find something for her to do.
Exactly.
Something.
So yeah, and that now part I can relate to because I remember my son was a young buck coming up and started hanging out at nightclubs, and so he got in a fight and he got the bad end of the fight, and so I went down to the nightclub looking for the perpetrator, and so that could have caused more problems. So what are you doing to go into the community to encourage people that was there on the scene, why we need to start creating a culture in our community? If you mess with our people, if you our own people, you messing with especially our babies, you're gonna pay the consequences immediately. We're gonna call you out. So how do you handle that?
Actually, we would like to be more vocal in going out into the community in different areas, and when something happens and being able to talk to our young people. We normally go into schools and other outlets to actually talk to them about prevention and about gun violence and about gang violence and all of those issues. But we would like to take it to another level and actually be out on the forefront, working with our youth. We're working on developing a program actually to support young people who are troubled or young people who do not have the support that they need. So hopefully we'll have it launched this year. But we definitely want to be more vocal out in the community in different areas because we want our young people to know that they have people who care about them, people who don't want to see them lose their lives like Isaiah lost his, and help them to grow and be strong individuals. So we definitely want to be more on the forefront. Now, we do hold a walk that we hold, and we go out into the community and we actually bring people together in, the community. Right now, we've been doing it in the East Tampa area in Bama Heights Estates. And it was really powerful in 18 in November. And so Bama Heights Estates wants us to come every year and make it ground zero so that we can bring more and more people out.
Awesome.
And
I want to ask, how was the reception? What were the residents? How did they?
The residents really embraced it.
Awesome.
We actually walked the neighborhood and then we went door to door. And then we had an actual event with various resources that were available to them that they could come up to, where there was refreshments, people to talk to. It was amazing. Yes. Mm-hmm. Very amazing.
Okay, so now I'm all about solutions, solving the problem. So I understand you mentioned gangs, all right? And so I understand why these young brothers get in gangs, because my generation did not leave, and we done said this a million times, but I'm going to keep repeating. We didn't leave the banks. We didn't leave insurance companies. We didn't leave businesses for our community. We just, we bought into the smoke, and that we were going to be accepted, by the American culture, and we got hoodwinked. So now these young boys are coming up with their own creative ways of making money, because when you're young, you want to attract females, and so because I remember my mother wanted me to go to Wards and Sears to buy clothes. I said, I can't get no girls, like that. I had to get me some short skins and some bandline knits from and so you had to come up with some creative ways of getting money to do that, to impress women. That's just reality. But we need to offer them an alternative. So, getting to my point with the gangs, have you considered approaching some of the gang members? And if you, and then let me say this: if you do, I would like to be there and bring them on the radio show. They may not want to come on the show, but I want to talk directly to them. Because if they're in the streets running those businesses illegal, they have to know math, they have to know marketing and advertising, how to promote their products, do whatever they're doing. That's business sense. So we just need to get them to to convert it. Yeah. And stop. So talk to me about the gangs.
Well, actually, I've wanted to go out to talk to the gangs many times, and to be up front and center with them, and just really talk to them, and kind of find out why are they doing what they're doing. And I know it's to make money, but as a result of that money, a lot of times the lives are being lost. A lot of young people who would have an opportunity to otherwise grow up to be productive citizens, or just be a part of this whole society, are not having that opportunity. So yes, I want to do that, and I've talked about that many times. I've talked about walking to the corners. I mean, all of it. So yes, I want to do that, and when I get that set up, I'm definitely going to reach out to you so that you can come out there and be a part of it as well.
Yeah, well, make sure Elliot comes, because
he's
Elliot's 6'4", about 250.
He's coming.
I need some backup.
He's been trying to keep me from doing it, but I think, and as I always tell Elliot, that we have to do that.
Elliot, what's that look on your face?
That's not true. I don't try and keep her from doing it. I want her. My job is her safety.
I know that's right.
So
I
want her to do it the right way, not the wrong way. Because I used to go to work at night and she'd be in the streets looking for people. So I know what she'll do. And it's like, no, we're not going to do that this way. And it'll be a nice argument, but we're not going to do this way.
That's right.
I don't mind I used to work at juvenile detention, so I can get in their face. I'm not one that's gonna shy off from a kid because you got to whoop me, because that's just the way I'm built. I'm not one that's gonna shy off from telling them to pull their pants up. My thing with a lot of the kids is we need to start teaching them old school values with a new school twist. And if you think of it like that, we all were raised with old school values: respect each other, respect one another. They don't have respect for anybody anymore.
Right.
So we start with respect. I respect you, you respect me, because I have kids that even when we go speak in schools that don't respect me until I jump down on them with both feet and say, look, you're going to respect me, I'm in charge.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm coming at this, is we need to go out there, we need to get their mutual respect as well as them respect us when we come to talk to them in a way that is not threatening to them.
Right. I just want to say one thing, and the reason why I have to say this is because we talked about bridging the gap between generations. I want to say this: most people that are out in the streets selling drugs or whatever, those don't, and I'm just saying in the Tampa area, that doesn't normally equal violence. The violence is there is either because they're doing drugs, or there's a lack of household structure, and there was a lack of values that were instilled, or they don't feel like people are really there for them. Normally in Tampa, because you sell drugs, don't mean you're gonna go kill somebody. That's normally, you're selling drugs because there's no economic opportunities. So I just have to say that for my generation, that not saying that it's right why they do it, but that doesn't always equate to because they sell drugs, or we're the ones, because most of the people that are selling drugs aren't the ones that are killing.
My thing with that is, if you don't mind me saying, is if they can go out there and sell drugs, that's a business. You can form your own legal business.
No, I'm not saying
I'm saying with them.
I just have to I have to disassociate that just because they sell drugs doesn't make them the ones that are the murderers in our community.
You know, you can. Well, a lot of the times they are, because think about it. If they're selling drugs and somebody dies, that in turns to me make them a murderer, because they sold that person stuff for them to die.
But I'm talking about shooting.
If you don't pay, they shoot.
Yeah.
If you don't pay, they shoot.
I hear both sides. I hear both sides of it because, you know, like I was saying earlier, that we want to be able to go out there and provide the support to young people so that they understand that we do care about them and that we want them to, you know, have opportunities. But I do also understand that when people are out there and they are selling drugs, that leads to other things. Absolutely. Because, you know, you have exactly. Yes. So it's a gateway to all of those different things that sometimes happens, you know, but it's not always, you know, what happens, you know, because they sell drugs, you know, somebody being murdered. That's true. But a lot of times it is because once people start using the drugs and, you know, their mental status is altered and all of that type of stuff, you know, and then if they can't pay and they keep coming back and they're on credit and all of this kind of stuff from those drugs, then those people are going to want their money back. Yes, and they're going to get their money back one way or the other. So if I don't get my money back, then you don't get to have another opportunity to go and ask for drugs again. So it's both sides to it.
And I understand. I think what I meant, I just want to clarify because we have to get it wrap up, and anybody that wants to call in and talk about it, is that the innocent bystanders that got shot were not necessarily a part of something that was attached to drugs.
Understood.
That's what I wanted to clarify.
Right, understood.
But I love you all.
I'm
ready to get on the front lines. If you need volunteers, I'm there.
So much.
And this is Straight Talk. So that's what good, lively discussion is about. It's not about us agreeing. It's about us coming up with solutions.
Yes.
All right. So you want to repeat that number?
Yes, sir. If you all want to call in, it's 813-444-9588. Also, make sure you go to Straight Talk Facebook page and like our page and stay tuned for different updates. And do we have time to let them give your social media pages? Advocates for Safer Communities.
Right.
Go ahead.
Okay, the Facebook page is Advocates for Safer Communities Incorporated on Facebook. And
the Instagram is Advocates for Safer Communities, but it's Advocates for FORR Safer Communities. Thank you.
All right. This has been the show bringing you the straight talk on reversing 400 years of slave mentality. We see you next Saturday at 9 a.m.